Welcome to another episode of Equity Mates, back for Tuesday. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you going?
I'm very good, Bryce. Good to be back for another day of AusBiz.
Yes.
And today we're going to be talking about a company that I guess we have a soft spot for. We have an interest in. I have an interest in.
You have a bit of an interest in this company given your corporate background.
Yes.
And look, it's not going to be a rubbish episode for reasons you'll find out in a second, but we are here to talk about a big corporate battle that is playing out overseas between two huge waste companies, not the biggest in the world, but two very big waste companies. But before we get into the Suez-Veolia dispute, Veolia dispute, it's worth touching on what happened with Cleanaway last week. Because we saw a 16% increase in their share price on Wednesday or Thursday late last week or thereabouts.
Don't quote us on it.
Don't quote us on
Do
that.
your own research.
Time flies. But it's a good way to, I guess, segue into the dispute going on between Suez and Veolia.
Yeah. So let's start with what happened last week. So Cleanaway, as you said, was up 16% on a bit of news. Now, for context, Cleanaway is Australia's largest waste company. Then Bingo probably follows after that. But the waste game is a truly international business, and there's a number of large multinationals. The reason Cleanaway was up 16% was they had signed a deal with Suez, a large French multinational waste and water company, to buy $2.5 billion worth of their Australian waste and recycling assets. So landfills, recycling centres, transfer stations, the infrastructure that we never really think about when it comes to waste, but is critical in terms of managing waste, and some of them can be quite lucrative. Cleanaway market cap of about $5 billion. So a $2.5 billion deal for Cleanaway, adding another 50% to their market cap in theory, pretty big. Pretty big.
Is it going to be, I guess, contentious from the eyes of the ACCC?
Potentially. I think they'll have to get clearance, but some of these assets are pretty prized and in areas where Cleanaway is already pretty strong.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So this will make it by far and away the largest waste big company in Australia.
Yeah, largest Australian waste company.
Yeah. So then let's rewind and understand why.
Yeah, why is Suez selling $2.5 billion worth of their assets, including some pretty prized assets?
Yes.
Why are they doing it?
So in August last year, Veolia announced its intention to acquire just shy of 30%, 29.9%. Of Suez.
The name of these companies is giving you all sorts of trouble.
Its intention to acquire 29.9% and then to acquire the entire company.
Yeah. And look, this is interesting because both of these companies are giants in their own right. No, as you said, not the biggest in the world. Biggest waste company in the world is the creatively named Waste Management based in the US. Market cap of about 75 billion Aussie dollars. But Veolia and Suez, I think, are number 4 and 5 in terms of waste companies by market cap. But they're very similar size. So Veolia is just shy of 20 billion Aussie dollars in market cap. And Suez is about 18 billion in Aussie dollars by market cap. And I mean, look, we haven't been in markets as long as a lot of people, but I thought it was surprising that a $20 billion market cap company was acquiring an $18 billion market cap company.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of actual company size, though, I think it's clear that Veolia is considerably bigger. I mean, in terms of number of employees, they're almost double. And in terms of total waste facilities around the world, they seem to be significantly bigger as well.
Yeah, so Veolia, 178,000 employees, Suez, 89,000 employees. Yeah. Both massive companies.
Yeah, pretty significant. So obviously the acquisition target was set and Suez, not too happy about it.
Yeah, well, let's run through a bit of the history because really this Cleanaway story is really just a segue for us to talk about this absolute corporate dogfight that has unfolded since August last year.
Crazy.
And it neatly ties back in with the Cleanaway story at the end. But if you'll indulge me, I just want to run through this story because it is unbelievable. So as you said, in August last year, Veolia announced its intention to acquire 29.9% of Suez and then wanted to acquire the rest of the company. Suez come out strongly, call the bid unsolicited, aren't too happy about it. In September, Veolia's chairman tells French TV that he won't rule out a hostile takeover.
Nice.
Things are getting a bit hot. At the same time, French unions get on the street and lead a demonstration of Suez workers against the Veolia takeover bid. At this time, Suez starts selling assets. So potentially to make the company less valuable in the eyes of Veolia, they sell 1.1 billion euros of recycling subsidiaries in Germany, Poland, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Around the same time, September last year, Suez's board created a poison pill. And basically, the long and the short of it is, for Veolia to acquire Suez, they said they were going to sell off Suez's French water business because Veolia and Suez both have incredibly strong French water businesses, probably couldn't own both of them.
Yeah.
So Suez create a Dutch foundation that owns one share in Suez's water business, and then change the company constitution or the rules about how Suez works that says that to sell this water business, you need unanimous consent from all shareholders. And because this Dutch foundation that Suez has created owns one share, they're not going to agree. And so Veolia, if they acquire Suez, won't be able to buy the company. So it's
unbelievable.
It's been called a poison pill. And the Veolia chairman went on French TV and called the move, I quote, pathetic and a betrayal of France.
That's like, Twiggy Forrest getting on national TV, or Brad Banducci from Woolworths getting on national TV and saying that it's a betrayal of Australia if, an equivalent sort of merger or takeover was denied. You wouldn't see it.
Look, I'm all for Stephen Kane of Coles and Brad Banducci of Woolworths getting on TV and calling each other pathetic. We don't see enough of it. We don't have enough highly public corporate fights in Australia.
I actually like the theatre.
Yeah, it would make great content.
It would make great content.
So at this stage, tensions are running high. Suez have created this poison pill. They're selling assets in spite of Veolia. And then Veolia actually acquire the 29.9% of Suez.
I'm guessing it's 29.9% because that's the absolute maximum they can do without board approval or shareholder approval. Yeah. So they've just done a let's do it.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suez sues. A French court suspends Veolia's rights as Suez shareholders. The Suez CEO goes out to all of his staff and tells them to make the company inaccessible to Veolia, like push up the share price as high as possible because we don't want them to be able to acquire us. Things escalate further in November 2020. At Suez's request, court-appointed bailiffs raid Veolia's offices and seize computers and search servers and looking for information in relation to the sale of Suez shares. So, the police, I guess, are getting involved. It's not done yet. Suez unveil an alternative takeover bid to Veolia's at the same price.
So just an ultimate FU.
Yeah. Like as a Suez shareholder at this point, you're thinking, I want to maximize the value of my shares, but you're just getting another bid at the same price because you don't want the first bid.
Yeah. So shareholder interest not at heart at all.
Well,
it's just,
let's not make any.
No, I'm making the claim.
Suez continue their sales to spite Veolia. They announced that their latest round of asset disposals may include water businesses in Spain, Chile, and the US, and solid waste businesses in Australia. We'll come back to that in a second, and the UK. Now, foreign government. So at this stage, the French Prime Minister is heavily involved in this dispute as well. Now other countries get involved. So the UK's regulator announces an investigation into Veolia's merger plans and Suez's asset sales. So both companies are getting investigated. Veolia, so this is now February 2021. Veolia announced that they're going to put a formal tender offer out to buy all remaining shares. Suez labelled the move illegal. A court orders Veolia not to file the tender. Veolia say, too late, we've already filed the tender, we're doing it. At this stage, the EU regulator gets involved, but rejects the request from Suez to declare Veolia's purchase of their shares a breach of competition law. Activist investors are getting involved. Veolia sues Suez to prevent further asset sales. Suez then activate that poison pill that we were talking about earlier, the Dutch Foundation, meaning a sale of Suez's French water business cannot happen until September 2024. Veolia announces it's going to sue Suez's board over this poison pill. At this point, reading through this history, I was just like, the lawyers on both sides.
I was just thinking that the legal fees that these guys would be spending would be incredible.
Yeah.
And the lawyers would just be rubbing their hands together, licking their lips at the absurdity of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is just going to get dragged out in the courts for
so
long.
And you know, like, we'll talk about how this Cleanaway thing ties into it, but Veolia will probably sue in Australia as well.
Yeah.
Suez and Cleanaway will lawyer up. Cleanaway has engaged French lawyers as part of like the French dispute. Like,
It's huge.
Yeah, multinational law firms. Maybe that's where we need to invest.
True.
Although they haven't had a good history in public markets. And so that really sets the scene, and I think that really sets the context for this Cleanaway announcement.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Suez don't want Veolia to take them over. They've got this, poison pill. They've been selling assets across the world to spite Veolia. You know, part of me thinks if this takeover bid fails and Suez as a business is like, all right, well, let's keep going.
I'll have nothing left.
They've sold a whole bunch of their, some quite valuable assets.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
But yeah, that is the context in which this Cleanaway announcement happened. This sale of $2.5 billion worth of waste and recycling assets to Cleanaway is part of this Veolia and Suez dispute. And Australia's largest waste company, which is, a quarter of the size of Veolia, may end up being one of the biggest beneficiaries of it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible story, and you're right. If things don't necessarily pan out for Suez, then they're going to be left with a whole heap of cash on the balance sheet, not a lot of assets, and if it doesn't all go through, then a potentially considerably smaller market cap and share compared to what they first went in with this whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Should Cleanaway, I guess, be cleared of anything through the ACCC or whatever it might be, they're certainly going to be in a pretty strong position here in Australia.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, if the ACCC do have concerns, Cleanaway will just decide to divest whatever the least valuable asset of whatever the conflict is.
Yeah.
Like, this is good for Cleanaway, is long and the short of it. The only thing to keep in mind is this dispute has a long way to go, the Suez and Veolia dispute. But if Suez and Veolia come to some form of an agreement, and Suez have sort of indicated that 22, 23 euros a share is the price at which this all gets resolved, Suez can walk away from a part of the Cleanaway deal, and Cleanaway will still get some good assets, but not nearly as much.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So the deal is contingent on what happens over there?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like, unless Veolia and Suez come to an agreement, this sale will happen.
So Bingo will just be sitting on the sidelines hoping it doesn't go through? Like, where's there?
Well, I'm sure they hope it doesn't. But they've got their own business. They're big in construction as well, and they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
It's a big market, the waste market.
Big market.
You don't think about it a lot, but it is a big market. Yeah.
So if you would like more information on that piece particularly, we did do a podcast on it, so you can go and check it out. But as well, if you would like more interesting articles, head to our website and sign up to our Thought Starters. we send out an email every Monday that has 5 interesting articles that pique our attention, very similar to this sort of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot going on out there, but that does bring us to the end of another episode of Equity Mates. Our website is equitymates.com if you'd like more information, or you can email us at contact@equitymates.com. But Ren, tomorrow it is Wednesday.
It's Watchlist Wednesday. We've got another fund manager coming in to talk about a couple of smaller companies, maybe not micro caps, but definitely small caps. So join us, same time, same place, to hear more Equity Mates on AusBiz.
See you then.